Jesse Jackson's life was defined by a relentless fight for justice and equality.
I was born in Greenville, South Carolina, in rampant, radical racial segregation. Had to be taught to go to the back of the bus or be arrested.
In 1965, he began working for Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
I learned so much from him. Such a great source of inspiration.
Both men were in Memphis in April 1968 to support striking sanitation workers. King and other civil rights leaders were staying at the Lorraine Motel.
He said, Jesse, you know, you don't even have on a shirt and tie. You don't even have on a tie. We're going to dinner. I said, Doc, you know, it does not require a tie. Just an appetite. We laughed. I said, Doc, and the bullet hit.
With King gone, his movement was adrift. Years later, Jackson formed Operation Push, pressuring businesses to open up to Black workers and customers, and adding more focus on Black responsibility, championed in the 1972 concert, Watts Stacks.
In Watts, we have shifted from burn, baby, burn to learn, baby, learn.
The Reverend set his sights on the White House in 1984. First thought of as a marginal candidate, Jackson finished third in the primary race with 18% of the vote. He ran again in 1988, doubling his vote count and finishing in second in the Democratic race. At the time, it was the farthest any Black candidate had gone in a presidential contest.
But 20 years later, when President Barack ran, we were laying the groundwork for that season.
In 2017, Jackson had a new battle to fight, Parkinson's disease, but it didn't stop him. Late in life, he was still fighting. He was arrested in Washington while demonstrating for voting rights. His silent presence at the trial of Ahmaud Arbery's killers prompted defense lawyers to ask that he leave the courtroom. Jackson stayed. From the Jim Crow South through the turbulent 60s and into the Black Lives Matter movement, Jesse Jackson was a constant, unyielding voice for justice.
Alabama is now in a crisis. Hospitals are having trouble hiring more nurses as part of a nursing shortage. A 2023 study is saying almost 40,000 nurses are now leaving the workforce faster than new ones can take the reins. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us how local schools are working to meet the need.
Alabama's healthcare industry is facing a shortage of up to 14,000 nurses after a projected loss of about a third of the workforce through retirement. Experts say the incoming students just aren't replacing the outgoing staff. In a newsletter just last year, the Alabama Board of Nursing's executive officer, Peggy Sellers-Benson, said, "We need to prepare for a much younger nursing workforce through mentoring opportunities, leadership development, and engaging the older nursing workforce to train this new generation. That's why local schools are working with healthcare providers across the state to get as many students as possible prepped and ready to go."
Calhoun Community College is just one of the local schools bringing in more students and programs to try to help with the nursing shortage. The dean of the nursing program, Dr. Tiffany Bain, describes the need for new people in the workforce.
There's this shortage because nurses are aging out and there's not as many going into the workforce. And so they're asking us, hospitals, what are you doing to help address the shortage?
In response, Calhoun Community College is working on an expansion of its Huntsville campus and new simulation programs. Calhoun is also offering accelerated coursework for associate's degrees, high-tech training, and programs for high school students.
Within 3 semesters, we take someone who is not a nurse and they become a registered nurse because they already have some of the classes that are required to become bachelor's prepared. They already have those. And so we're just building on their education that they've already completed and then adding the bachelor's degree.
But one of the biggest problems is the fact that Alabama's nurses are among some of the lowest paid in the nation, sometimes leading to a brain drain of some of the state's recent graduates.
Huntsville and North Alabama have raised salaries over the last couple of years, but it's always a push-pull between what other hospital systems are operating as salaries, because you do want to retain the best and brightest.
The Huntsville Hospital's chief nursing officer, Aaron Zapp, said in a statement to Fox 54, "We're actively addressing nursing workforce shortages by partnering with local nursing programs, including apprenticeship opportunities." In Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Dr. Bain with Calhoun Community College says now is the perfect time to consider a career in nursing, even if you already have a bachelor's degree. It's been just over a week since the historic heart of Fayetteville was forever changed as a devastating fire tore through downtown, reducing 4-century-old buildings to ash. We still don't know what caused this fire, but the true toll is being measured in more than just brick and mortar. 5 businesses gone, and for the owners, this has been a week of shock, assessment, and searching for answers in the rubble. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell spoke with one of the business owners today.
I lost 12 years of hard work in a couple hours. Everything, I was left with nothing as a business.
Those 12 years were spent on runways in New York, Mexico City, and Paris. But for international designer Juan Guerrero, downtown Fayetteville was home. He operated his studio inside Mercantile on Market Street, owned by his partner Lance Bonin. Today, the vibrant fabrics and hand-stitched collections are buried beneath brick and ash.
I was very close to just give up and say, like, okay, maybe this is a sign. Maybe it's time for me to, change the route. But when I start getting all this love, from my community, that is what is, keeping me standing.
Guerrero isn't the only one feeling that weight. Main Street Association Executive Director Amy Bird says 5 businesses in total were lost in the 4 collapsed buildings. She says the relationships over the last several years are what will sustain the block through the coming months.
We've been with these buildings through grand openings, through moves, through anniversaries, and we'll continue to be with them through their rebuilding.
What once was yellow tape is now a metal fence that is securing the perimeter of the site of the fire, and now city leaders are going to have to work to determine what is next. Bird says it will be a while before a plan is made as businesses are still working with insurance and other variables. In Fayetteville, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
Street Association is still taking donations on their website. All money raised goes directly to the business owners, and for more information, go to fox54.com.
It's now day 17 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, and as far as we know, there's still no suspect in this case, but the sheriff tells us 11 different law enforcement agencies are now working this case.
2 weeks after Nancy Guthrie went missing, investigators are working with Walmart after learning the store exclusively sells the backpack seen in this surveillance video. Experts also believe the suspect's gun holster and clothing possibly came from Walmart. To help track down the suspect, investigators can use credit card transactions to produce names and addresses, which are then compared to a suspect profile.
They can look at the individual who bought the backpack and see, okay, that guy's 6'5", that's not who we're looking for. It's a little bit like sifting for a needle in a barn of haystacks.
Investigators are also focused on a DNA recovered from a glove found 2 miles from Nancy's home. The FBI says the DNA is from an unidentified man, and it appears to match the gloves worn by the suspect.
When they test evidence like that, they don't use up all the source, so they have enough left over where they can retest it someplace else.
But a 4th letter sent to TMZ yesterday claims there may be more than one kidnapper, and it's possible Nancy Guthrie is no longer in the U.S. The note is once again asking for thousands of dollars in Bitcoin in exchange for information about the case.
Look, you don't trust the FBI. Send us the information. We will immediately send it on to the FBI.
And authorities haven't said whether or not they believe this latest note is authentic, but the sheriff did go on the record saying he doesn't believe that the Guthrie family or their spouses were involved. In Tucson, Arizona, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
U.S. President Donald Trump will host the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace here in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. A White House official said last week that some 20 countries were expected to attend. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Belarus, and Hungary are among the countries that are expected to attend as members of the Board of Peace. Other countries, including Romania and Cyprus, have said they will send representatives as observers to that meeting. Trump said in a post on social media on Sunday that he expected to announce $5 billion in contributions to help with the reconstruction of Gaza, as well as thousands of personnel to serve on a stabilization force that is meant to help secure the Gaza Strip. There have been questions about the mandate of the Board of Peace and whether or not it is attempting to supplant the United Nations. According to a draft charter obtained by CNN last month, Gaza was not actually mentioned, and instead the Board of Peace was described as a broader peace mechanism. Now, of course, when this was first proposed, the Board of Peace was pitched as part of a 20-point peace plan for Gaza, for the Middle East in particular. So there are concerns about how broad this mandate might be. There are also concerns about some of the people who were invited to join the board, including China, Russia, and Belarus. Back to you.
It's dual high-stakes diplomacy here in Geneva today. Top U.S. officials are holding indirect talks with Iran over its nuclear program, followed by three-way face-to-face talks with Russia and Ukraine in a bid to end their nearly four-year-old war. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner are leading the efforts yet again, follow-ups to similar meetings in the Middle East in recent weeks. Across town from here, in a location long kept secret, the U.S. team was holding indirect, not face-to-face, talks at the residence of the ambassador of Oman, which is playing host. Shortly, the three-way talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. are expected to begin in this hotel behind me. It's uncertain whether the U.S. will make any headway in getting Iran to back off its nuclear program. Tehran insists it wants international sanctions lifted in exchange. Equally tricky are efforts to end Russia's war in Ukraine, long a goal of President Trump. But expectations for any breakthrough are low, with neither side apparently ready to budge from their positions on key territorial issues.
Meet the people training AI to replace your doctor, lawyer, banker, and even your sommelier. What is the most surprising role that you have hired for to train an AI?
Lots of fun ones. We've hired wine experts who are able to recommend what pairing you should have with your dinner.
Brendan Footy is the 22-year-old co-founder and CEO of Mercor, one of the hottest startups in Silicon Valley, valued at $10 billion. They manage a network of some tens of thousands of professional experts who help train the major AI models to think, act, and talk like them. Most people, I think, believe that AI just learns off the internet and what's out there. Why do you need humans involved in the process?
The largest driver of AI progress right now is how do we effectively identify model mistakes, measure those mistakes, and allow models to learn from them. And so the AI labs are hiring large armies of people to help create these data sets and teaching models how to learn from them.
The average expert is paid $95 an hour, although some specialized roles can earn up to $250 per hour. The most popular subject is software engineering, followed by finance, then medicine and law.
Are these people not kind of training their future replacements?
The way I think about it is that we're not going to run out of things to do. As a society, we have so many problems that we need to solve. We need to cure cancer, we need to solve climate change, and making everyone 10 times more productive so that they're able to better work on those key problems is going to be a huge, huge benefit to how we make progress as a society.
McCore experts present the AI they are training with a prompt, then grade their response using a rubric they've created in consultation with other experts in their field. Dr. Alice Chow is one of these experts. She used to teach at Stanford University's medical school. Now her student is an AI model.
So tell me what it's like when you sit down in front of the computer. What are you doing?
I am looking at the AI model that I'm working with, and I am posing real-life questions or challenges that I've faced or I've seen patients face. And I ask the model, provide me with the potential diagnoses, suggest several treatments, and list the evidence that you used to support these diagnoses.
I've heard from doctors that sometimes medicine is a lot about a gut feeling. Can you train an AI on that?
So this is where it's really important to know that the AI is not a doctor. It's not a human being. It does not have the 20 years of clinical experience that I or another one of my colleagues might have. This is where you need to be really careful.
Do you ever feel like you're training your replacement?
No, I do not. I don't want to see it as AI taking over our jobs. I want to see it as AI taking over the aspects of our jobs that prevent us from being good doctors, good healers, and good listeners.
It continues to be a concerning trend. Colorectal cancer is killing more young adults, with death rates rising in those under age 50 by more than 1% every year for more than 20 years, advancing this disease from the 5th most common cause of cancer death in the early to mid-90s to the most common in those under age 50 in 2023.
This is really an outlier and really something that needs significant attention.
Dr. William Dayhut with the American Cancer Society says deaths are declining for other cancers in young adults. It's only colorectal cancer deaths that continue to rise. There are 5 warning signs that many may dismiss: persistent abdominal pain, rectal bleeding, persistent diarrhea or constipation, unexplained weight loss, and iron deficiency anemia, often caused by hidden blood loss leading to fatigue and weakness.
Young people should not ignore any symptom that they find unusual, and that if they see their physician and they're told they're too young to have a problem, they probably need to see somebody else.
Dayhut says about half of the colorectal cancer deaths in young adults are in those between the ages of 45 and 49, and screening is lowest in that age group. A colonoscopy can find polyps which can turn into cancer and get rid of them.
If those polyps are removed, that reduces or can eliminate the risk of cancer from those polyps.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In the forest, every least thing's important. It's all threaded together, so you can't tell where one thing ends and another begins.
Train Dreams has won Best Feature of the Year at the Indie Spirit Awards, as well as Best Director for Clint Bentley and Best Cinematography for Adolfo Veloso. Both men, who are also Oscar nominees, say they knew the film was special while they were making it.
I connected with so many aspects in the movie, and I was really connected to certain things that made the project be very personal to me in a way.
A lot of crew brought a lot of themselves to it, and even brought heirlooms from their grandmother that they wanted to put in the film, things like that.
Japan has taken baseball from the U.S. and recreated it in its own image. Baseball gave Japan an outlet to succeed on the world stage.
Homecoming, the Tokyo series, looks at last year's Dodgers-Cubs historic season opener in Japan as a lens into the country's passion for the American pastime. The documentary screens in U.S. theaters next Monday and Tuesday. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
In the world of magic, everything that disappears reappears. Woo! It is very good to be back.
The Four Horsemen are back, and they brought new friends in Now You See Me, Now You Don't. The third adventure in the Magic Heist series is out now on 4K UHD, Blu-ray, and DVD.
So this is your first hunt. And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe.
Elle Fanning pulls double duty as a pair of synthetic humanoids in Predator Badlands. Director Dan Trachtenberg's latest adventure in the Predator universe is out now on 4K UHD, Blu-ray, and DVD. Based on a true story, Song Sung Blue finds Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson as a pair of musicians in a Neil Diamond tribute band. Fans can sing Sweet Caroline with Hugh and Kate on Blu-ray. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Take a look at an impressive display at the intersection of technology and technique. A fleet of humanoid robots put on a jaw-dropping presentation showcasing kung fu artistry alongside human counterparts. CCTV reports the stage segment was part of the annual Spring Festival Gala, known as Chunwan to millions of viewers in mainland China. The machines' martial arts moves were impressive on their own, but the show also included a technical display arming the bots with traditional kung fu weaponry such as swords and nunchucks, which were also wielded with impressive dexterity and agility. The performance was an eye-opening showcase of coordination, artistry, programming, and style that would surely leave anyone impressed. Unless, of course, you're one of those kung fu robot apocalypse conspiracy theorists, which I am. We are so cooked. Speaking of cooking up some bizarre tech, there's something strange in the air over at the University of Maryland, where researchers say they've created smart underwear designed to measure human flatulence. It's science, people. According to a press release, the garment, which was the subject of a 2025 study, features a snap-in device that tracks intestinal productivity around the clock in an effort to gain a better understanding of where most people fall on the flatulence spectrum, represented here by this cheeky diagram. See what I did there? All kidding aside, the university says the smart undies are like a glucose monitor, but for intestinal gas, and says it could open the door to measuring gut microbial metabolism if they can find some volunteers to try it on, and more importantly, try it out, proving there are still some things a robot can't do. Score one for the humans. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Happy New Year from Beijing, the capital of China. It's not January 1st, but it's the Lunar New Year. It's the first day of the Year of the Horse. The Chinese zodiac has 12 animals, and we've given way to the Year of the Snake and started the Year of the Horse. So what happens on Lunar New Year? Lunar New Year is the biggest holiday in China. If you include the weekends, most people in China get 9 days off. And what do? Well, a lot of them go home to their hometowns. They go home, and on New Year's Eve, they have dinner with their families. It's a big traditional get-together kind of gathering. And then on New Year's Day, a lot of them will go to temples to wish for happiness, for whatever they want in the new year. Another important activity is where we are right now, which is a temple fair. Temple fairs are on the sites of temples or former temples, and they're places where booths are set up and people bring their children, people bring their partners, and they come here for fun, to eat some food, to watch some traditional performances, to buy some trinkets and souvenirs and all that kind of thing. So it's really a day of celebration here in China. The holiday will go on for another week or so, and people will keep enjoying themselves and also relaxing from the busy pace of work while looking ahead to a really great year in the coming Year of the Horse.
We're here in Beijing at the Ditan Temple Fair. This is one of the largest Chinese New Year celebrations, and also we are in the middle of the biggest human migration on the planet. But for celebrating Chinese New Year, there are some rules that you should follow. Among them, red packets for family members. That is a must. Next, don't get your haircut on New Year's Day. Make sure that you get your haircut before New Year's Day. That is an absolute rule. Also, make sure that you do your cleaning before the start of Chinese New Year, because say you're sweeping your floor on day one, that's like you're sweeping your luck out of your home. You don't want to do that. Make sure that you take out the trash before the start of Chinese New Year as well. Also, wearing new clothes is the right way to start off the new year. Try to wear red as well, a symbol of prosperity and good fortune. And then perhaps the most important, you gotta start Chinese New Year with a positive attitude. If you're a grouch on day one, that perhaps sets the tone for the new year. So you want to stay positive.
It's awesome. It's uplifting. Being from this town, I grew up in this town. I remember coming into this store after school, being able to see my product on the shelf. It shows you how things come full circle. Check them out. I'm Uncle DeLong. I'm the founder of the Cripple Pickle. I sell my pickles at the Newtown Hardware House. These are just jalapeno and garlic, really simple flavor. So I got injured in January of 2024 in a motor vehicle accident. I fractured C6 in my neck, which left me paralyzed from my chest down. Couldn't feel anything from my armpits down. I had paralysis in my hands and my triceps. They told me I'll never really regain much function or anything after that. But I was only 21. It was hard for me to hear. When I got discharged home, there wasn't really much I could do at that point. But my garden got me back into everything, you know? It was something I could do. It gave me a sense of independence and everything. I had a lot of leftover vegetables, so I was like, you know what? Might as well pickle some of them. I was surprised how much people loved them. So I think they're delicious. They're very simple tasting. The jalapeno is definitely my favorite.
When Michael was injured, they did not give us much hope that he would ever walk. And before he went into the OR, he said, "Mom, don't worry, I'll walk again." And from then on, I just really believed he could do it. It's given him a purpose, and that people love his pickles make him really happy.
Never, ever lose hope. Just be patient, do not lose hope. That's why I started this business, you know, get back into work and never give up.
February 17th, 1992. In Milwaukee, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer receives a series of life sentences for his grisly string of murders. Dahmer had admitted to killing 17 young men and boys, some of whom he had mutilated and cannibalized. Just a few years later, Dahmer was beaten to death by a fellow inmate behind bars. 1801. In Washington, the House of Representatives breaks an electoral tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr. The House chooses Jefferson to be America's third president. Burr became his vice president. 1996. World chess champ Garry Kasparov beats Deep Blue, the IBM supercomputer, in a 6-game match in Philadelphia.
I knew that I could learn much better because my opponent would need more time to learn and to come back with a really sophisticated counter strategy.
The following year, Kasparov loses to Deep Blue in a rematch. 1963.
I'm not afraid to take on a challenge. I'm not afraid to take a step. And if I fall, I fall. I pick myself up. I move on.
Michael Jordan, one of pro basketball's greatest all-time players, is born in Brooklyn, New York. And 1976.
Take it easy, take it easy.
The Eagles released their greatest hits 1971 to 1975 album. Still the best-selling album in the U.S. ever. Today in History, February 17th. Brian Thomas, The Associated Press.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style, Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
And I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.